What is going on, my friends? It is time. It is this place, it is that place. It is all places at once. If you and me are here together, we're going to have some fun, my friends. This is episode 61 of On the Road, in the Waves, and on the other side, with me, your host, Paul Carpenter. And today, my friends, do I have a guest for you? Oh, yes, I do. Oh, yes, I do. I have a, a, I'm going to call him a rock on tour of space. Someone who understands design, somebody who understands color and feel and energy and has an amazingly interesting story. And I don't even want to, I mean, it's a super well known, famous person. I'm not going to tell you. I want you to see this. This is a great story, first of all. And second of all, uh, I'm about to introduce you all to Howard Wiggins. My friend, please let's bring him on. Mr. Howard Wiggins, how are you doing today? Thank you for joining. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to this. I know it's going to be crazy.
Oh, I'm sure it will. I'm sure it will. For reference, I met you through Rachel, who was on my show, and you are on a show with her. It's top 20 podcasts in the world. I believe it's
Top
one of the top
15. It's
five.
number 15 in the world.
But in the United States, it's like one of the top 10,
Four.
or even top five.
Four
Right.
in the nation.
So, in the nation, but top 15 in the world. Thank you for taking the time to be on my show. So that's cool. And the name of that show is, I don't want to mess it up, but it's Film Reviews and More. Is that right?
Movies, reviews, and more. That's all
I
right.
didn't want to mess it up. Movies, Reviews, and More is the name of it. It's a jumbled cast of different people. Rachel, yourself, and a couple other people are on the show. It's done
Correct.
very well for itself. And you yourself, you now are an actor. You have been a singer. You have been an interior designer. I mean, my friend, you have a story to tell, and I can't wait to share it with everybody. So the way that I usually start this off is a three-question prong thing that I don't expect you to answer, but I just like to say it. Howard Wiggins, we are totally interested in what you are and who you are. Please tell us who you are, where you are, where you come from, and what you do.
I'm in Nashville, Tennessee. I'm son of Lorrie Wiggins, who played steel guitar with Eddie Arnold. I was one of the top 35, well, I still am, one of the top 35 leading interior designers. I'm in Andrew Martin, Volume 3, which you can get at any bookstore around the world, even today. I have a Christmas book, get it out, that they're featuring my home and Patricia McMillan, Christmas in Designers' Homes Across America. They're going to make a remake of that, and that's coming out soon, but you can still get that one. The Andrew Martin book, let me get that. I got to bend down and get it. There's the Andrew Martin book, featured one of the world's 35 leading interior designers. And that book, I'm in with Ivana Trump, George Harris of the Beatles. I did that a long time ago when I was in my 20s. So
That's awesome. And so, another fun, interesting fact about you is that you had lunch with somebody for a couple of years. Is it true? And who was it?
Dolly Parton. Dolly Parton. I knew Dolly through my father when she first started singing with Porter Wagner. My dad had a Grammar Guitar Company back then, and he took me with him to meet Dolly. The moment I met Dolly, I fell in love with her, and I would see her every Saturday night up until the time she made 9 to 5, and we would talk backstage.
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. I was trying to cut myself off. What did you say? You were talking?
Yeah, I was talking with Dolly behind stage up until she made 9 to 5. Uh, so we talked every Saturday night for a long time. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So, are you still in touch with her now, or no,
Now
not at
you're
all?
going away. There you
I
are.
said, are you in touch with her now?
No. When she made 9 to 5, I haven't seen her since then. So Brian's going to try to reconnect us. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, man, I would have already reached out and tried. I would have been like, yeah, Valen, what's up? Send her a message on Instagram or something, or email that shit, and be like, hey, do you remember this? And send her a picture that you have of her and you together or something. She would totally connect. 100% she would.
Yeah, you can go. You can go on my Facebook page. If you'll scroll down, you'll see me kissing Dolly and the way she looked at me before the kiss. And I've got stories about. I had a car accident many years ago, and I cut my was the other ear, this ear right there, and I broke my neck. And Dolly came to see me in the hospital, and she brought Stella, one of her sisters, and a friend of hers. And in the hospital, there were 2 chairs on each side of the bed, and my parents were sitting at the foot of the bed, and Dolly was standing up in the room. And Dad asked my Dolly, "Would you rather sit at the foot of the bed?" And I said, "Yeah, Dolly, sit at the foot of the bed so I can tell everybody I had Dolly Parton in my bed." So, uh, and then because I was in traction, Dolly stood above my head so I could see her. So I get to saw a view of Dolly that most men don't get to see. So
Uh, Howard, where were you born originally?
say it again.
Where were you born originally?
Oh, right where I am now, Brentwood. I was
Wow.
born uh, where Eddie Arnold lived on Granny White Pike. When I was born, we lived at the house right next to him. And that's another story. My dad was famous at 13. And then he played behind Patsy Cline, Louisiana Hayrod. And let's see, Elvis's manager, Colonel Parker, was my dad's manager before Elvis. And there's a story about that where Eddie Arnold got mad at everything in his band except for my father. And he fired him. He fired Chet Atkins, but Chet Atkins became famous, and he fired Colonel Parker. And when he fired Colonel Parker, he gave him $35,000 severance pay, and with that, he bought Elvis Presley's contract. So if he hadn't got fired, he
No
wouldn't have
way.
bought Elvis's contract.
No way.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
Actually,
totally blown away by that story.
they
Go
just
ahead.
did a documentary on Elvis, and I'm going to be in that documentary telling the story I just told you. So,
Exclusive. I got exclusive. The third
yeah.
one. I'm very proud of all my exclusives. So when I know this answer already, but when did you know that you were an artist?
That I was an interior designer. Is that it?
You know, just an artist in general, because
Okay.
it seems that every
Actually,
piece of your life, yeah,
you're
it seems
breaking
as though
up. I
you've
don't.
done art most of your life.
Yeah, I knew I was an interior
Yeah, it's
designer.
not my signal. I got a perfect signal, so I'm not sure what's going on.
Yeah, it's a little lag in the conversation. So, but I got into interior design because when I was living at home as a child, my mother redid the house about 3 times. The third time she did it, she hired a professional interior designer, and everything in the house was new drapes, new furniture, everything. And he did my room, and the way he did my room, I could tell a difference. And those are still my colors today, what he did. And it made an effect on my. But anyway, my dad came from out of off the road, and he goes sits in a new recliner and turns on a new TV set. And mother said, "Don't you notice anything?" He said, "Did you get your hair done today?" And it's like, I just thought that
Oh
was
wow.
crazy because he didn't even if we were there, he wouldn't even know where he was.
Wow. And do you
Yeah.
think that that's just from the life of being on the road all the time?
Oh yeah, he was on the road. He told many stories. He told one story to me where I think it was him and the Willis brothers were out and they get bored on the road. So they went to like a Walmart or someplace like that and they set all the alarm clocks 5 minutes apart and then waited around for them to go off. So
That's great. That's great. So let's get back to you. It's not just interior design, right? But I mean, that was absolutely, I guess, the moment, the trigger that hit you for, you know, like you said, it's still some of the same colors that you use now. Um, when was that? And did you know that that was something that you wanted to do, or something that you were intrigued by? Because you also
well,
became a singer, so that's why I'm asking, like, when did you know you were an artist, not just a designer, but an artist as a human being?
well, actually I started off being a vet when I went to college for 1 year. And I called home and I told my parents, I don't want to be a vet. That's not what I want to do. She said, well, there's a design school opening up in Franklin, Tennessee called O'More. Do you want to go to that? I said, sure. And when I did that, that's where my love was. I mean, I've always been very materialistic and loved beautiful things. And, I'm 70 years old now, and people say, well, you should start getting rid of stuff. No, I want more. I want more of it. you
You're
know.
funny. I like you. So that's cool, man. So then my next question is going to be, what triggered the musician part? If you were already into interior design, you were already doing this thing, what got you to want to be a musician? Was it wanting to like reconnect with your dad's spirit, or did you always sing? You know,
I didn't understand the question. You're breaking up. I'm sorry.
I'm wondering. I know I can't be me. It cannot be me. I'm like full bars across the board. Um,
Okay.
Nonetheless, the question was, um, why did you start singing?
Why did I? What?
Start singing.
Oh, I don't sing. That's not something I act, and I'm an interior designer, but I'm not a singer at all.
Oh, I for so I man, how Howard, I'm
No,
so
no,
sorry. I truly thought maybe it was a
no
photo that
problem.
you had. There's a photo of you or something that looks like you're
I
like a rock
dance,
and
but I
roll
don't
star.
sing. I dance,
And
but
there
I
was
don't
never a
sing.
pose with you with a guitar. There's no pose with you with a
uh,
guitar anywhere.
oh, with the guitar, I might have just been making a fun picture. That's all.
So that's what I think got me, and I was like, oh, it's a singer too. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's everywhere. So then let's get into it. So then, what got you to start doing acting?
I had a local TV program called Nashville Entertainment Weekly, and I was a guest on that show talking about interior design. And the producer of that
Okay.
show made his first movie, TJ Cates. It's called The Haunted Farmhouse. And he called me up and said, I don't know anybody that looks better in a top hat than you do. Would you like to be the ghost in my movie? So that's how that started. And from that, I did a little zombie movie. And then I've got one coming up in Hollywood called Who's Going to Take Care of Me, that has Catherine Pacino, Al Pacino's stepmom, Paul Williams from the 80s, if you remember him. He was also in the light haired ape in the Planet of the Apes. And then I've got a major role on uh, coming up with here in Nashville, where I played the father of a girl, and that's just a major role. It's called Without Warning, and that's coming up soon. And that's going to be shot in April. Takes about 90 days to shoot it, so hopefully by the summer we'll have a preview party. So
Very cool. Very cool. It's like tons of projects popping off for you right now. Um, so I'm trying to like really find the I like to I like to find people's like moments, and and it seems like you kind of already knew from a very young age what you wanted to be and do, and you only kind of went a different direction in college first year, like you said. What's it been like knowing yourself for so long?
Uh,
Like knowing who,
I think
because most people don't know who they are.
I've I've always liked what I did. I mean, I stayed at my first job 18 years, went to another job for 18 years, was independent for 18 years. Every 18 years, I kind of changed my profession. So, or what I'm doing.
What,
But
what, what, what were those?
I'm
What were
just,
the three
uh,
professions?
I, I was working for a furniture store called Sprints in Nashville. And then I was independent for myself for 18 years. And then I've been away for 18 years doing the retired. So, so
Nice. And so now that it's been 18 years of being retired, you're back to work.
well, now I'm going into acting. So hopefully that'll last 18 years if
18
I
years.
do.
Hell yes, sir. Hell yes, dude. Hell yes, that's a badass. I want that more than anything for you, man. That would be an amazing
Yeah.
a book, like a biography, 18 times 4. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
that'd be
Yeah.
a great,
My
that'd be a
actually, I
great.
had a great grandfather. He lived to be 103. So my goal is try to beat that or better. So I've got good
Well,
genes in my family. All my grandparents were in the late 90s when they all passed away. So I got some good genes
wow,
in me.
right, right. Yeah, obviously you do. Let's get into some weird. Uh, let's get into some weird conversations now. Speaking of what you just talked about and trying to last longer than your grandfather, do you feel that here in the next 5 or 10 years, would you take some kind of mRNA vaccine of some sort or a genetic mutation uh, type of thing that you would be able to live longer? Would you do it? Would you want to live like
I wouldn't take a
150, 200 years?
vaccine. I heard they have a pill that will actually make you younger. That's in trial
Yeah,
periods
they do.
right now. I would do that pill,
Yeah,
but I don't trust the vaccine. I don't trust the government in any way they
yeah,
do.
yeah.
You
And I
know,
wasn't talking about the COVID vaccine. I'm talking about the style
yeah.
of penetration into the DNA, which is what the mRNA vaccine does when used in the right way. So that's why I was asking, especially when you're
Uh-huh.
using a chimera gene, which is what it's called, and using that to manipulate genome structure. So yeah, so you would take it. You would totally go against your creator's wishes of when you should or should not die. I mean, on some
Yeah,
joking
yeah.
level, you would go for it.
I it depends on who's putting it out. I mean, if it was I mean, today I was actually listening to the TV, and they had an applesauce that's, those little containers of applesauce had a lot of lead in it,
Right,
and a lot of children
right.
got poisoned by that lead in the applesauce. Why did they put lead in applesauce? I have no idea. I mean, so you don't know what they're doing to you or anything, you
I
know.
mean, there's a whole thing right now with Teflon. I don't know if you've heard about this, right? And how like I think 90% of the metal surfaces that we cook on have Teflon in it, and that's where a lot of the microplastics are coming from for the body, and that we're finding that Teflon is actually flaking off into our food and onto and into our body. But yeah, it's a little weird. There's so much of it that it seems as though they just want to, in essence, kind of kill us all. You know what I mean? get rid of us.
I
There's a
believe they
really good
do.
movie that's out
I
right
do
now.
believe it.
Oh, 100.
Hmm.
There's a new movie out right now on Netflix, and it's called Leaving the World Behind. I don't know if you've seen it or if you checked it out. It just came out about 3 4 days ago.
Uh-huh.
An amazing all star cast, and let's see who's this. Oh, I'm gonna look it up so I can tell you because it's such an amazing like cast. It's like ridiculous cast. Leaving the world behind. Oh, Leave the World Behind, with the cast of Julia Roberts, Ethan Hawke, Kevin Bacon, um, I can't say his name correctly, and I don't want to mess it up. Mahershala Ali, African American gentleman, amazing actor, um, and some other cast characters, but those are huge cast, in a really good movie about when the whole thing comes down and society deals with each other in that moment. That
Hmm.
like literally the hours and days of the experience of having the entirety of the world fall apart. Satellites go down. I don't want to get into the whole movie, but
Right.
it's a very good psychological kind of film that makes you think about what would you do in this situation, and what options do you have, and how many people can you save, and it's a very very good movie, well directed, well edited. Um, so I guess my question for you, leading from that, is: are you ready, and do you have a go back?
Uh,
Being that you
I
are a materialistic person, could you let it all go and go into the forest if the world were ending? Like everybody's tearing up people's houses and being burnt to the ground. Everybody's stealing from each other. Would you try and stay, or would you grab your go bag and
if my wife always Googles the world ending for some reason, and she does a lot of reading on it. And one thing is, it could be a meteor happen, or we could have a tidal wave. We could have a natural disaster. The icebergs could melt and flood us, and there's so many things that could happen at any moment, at any time. And so I always told her, I said, I don't care if I die or not. I've had a good life, so why do I care if everybody goes with me when I'm gone? So, be honest, I think it's more the quality of life. If the world was coming to the end, I want to be one of the first to go. I don't want to suffer. I worry about existing in a universe that I don't want to be in. So I'd rather at this point just go on. you know.
so? Okay, let's go to the next question. I'm gonna get some deep questions out of you here today, Howard. These are gonna be some hard ones for you. I hope you don't mind. Would you, if let's say you forced into the situation, you can't really choose how this thing happens. Like the meteor happens, whatever, right? The lights go out and everybody's freaking out. And would you take your life because you wouldn't want to live in a world that's Mad Maxian maybe in a year or so after that?
I I probably would try. Yeah, if I can make it quickly, I would.
No,
I would
very
do it.
honest. You're so honest. Listen, you're so honest. That's a super honest answer, and I really appreciate you for saying that because it was quick first of all, which is really intense. But
My
the
my
fact that
biggest
you
fear, my biggest fear is being paralyzed. Because if I was paralyzed, that's like you buried me. I have my mind, I have my thoughts, but I can't move, I can't communicate. That's like you put me in the ground and I'm still alive. That to me is far worse than death. And there's a lot of things that can happen to a person that is far worse than death. At least death is a final, and you go on to wherever you go. But the suffering, I be honest, I have only been sick twice in my life that I can remember. And when I was sick those two times, I wasn't that sick. I still carried on. But I just
right.
I don't know if I could handle pain because I just never had much experience with it.
Well, then you are massively blessed, Howard. Because
Yeah.
I feel like life in and of itself is pain. It's painful to learn. It's painful to grow. It's painful to have a beautiful relationship. Life is pain because through it we have our lessons, you know. And so, dare I say it to you, because you said that you didn't have a lot of pain in your life, but do you feel you've learned your life's lesson without the pain? And do you think
Oh
there's a
yeah.
life lesson to learn?
I've changed my life probably twice, maybe three times in my life from who I was to who I wanted to be. I have my stories I can tell. Well, first, my first story was when I was a teenager. I was shy, except on the dance floor, and I didn't like that stuff about me. So they started having the male strip contest. And I thought, well, if I get up there and can strip down to Speedos, I'll get over my shyness. And I did, and I did. I won the contest. And if I hadn't have done that, I probably wouldn't have asked my wife out because she's absolutely beautiful. It gave me the confidence that I needed to change my life. And then later on in life, I was 100 pounds heavier. And, you get married and you start gaining weight. And I thought, I don't like myself. I mean, I really didn't realize I got that heavy. And then I just kind of noticed one day. So I went on Atkins diet and I lost all my weight and I never did gain it back. So I'm very much set my goals, reach my goals, and set other goals. So that's the way I've always lived my life. So, and I don't, if I get stressed out, I'll run away from stress or I'll forgive stress. I don't hold grudges. I don't, if you harm me, you're not a part of my life anymore. I believe surround yourself with people who have the same interests as you do, create new experiences, and create the life that you want to live.
Hmm. I agree 100%. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, so, okay, it's just another way of being, another way of thinking is all it is what we're talking about. It's a different, an emotional or intellectual kind of quality that you're talking about. And I think that comes from the way that you were raised. So that would be my next question: is who was the person that you feel is the person who gave you
Actually,
that ability to?
I believe it's from hanging around with Dolly Parton because I remember things that she told me
Wow.
behind stage. She told me, Howard, when my career is over, I'm going to write children's books. And of course, her career is not over, but she did it. Also, knowing her, I know all her stories, and I have stories, and I tell them all the time on these podcasts. But when you speak the truth, you're not shy. I mean, it's just I'm just telling you the story of my life.
Right.
And the way she
Right.
treated everybody. I mean, she treated everybody she came in contact with the same way as she would if you were the president or you were a janitor. You still got treated the same way by Dolly. So
Right.
I think I learned a lot of that from
Right.
hanging around her. Actually.
That's dope. That's actually really cool, man. That
Mhm.
kind of small amount of connection with her gave you that thought process that you had, and it kept you moving into this world that you're in today. You know, on some level, like you said, like it was something that through her, you were able to kind of have like an understanding of how you're supposed to act and interact with other people.
I think, just like an alcoholic, you've got to admit to yourself what you don't like about yourself so you can change it. And anything that you don't like about
Right.
yourself, you have the power to do so. So, I mean, many times when I talked to her, I mean, she wrote Coat of Many Colors when she was 5 years old. So, I mean, she had talent. Uh, and I even heard a thing about her when she graduated from high school. She told everybody she was going to go to Nashville and become a star, and they all laughed at her. Well, I bet they're not laughing now. She did exactly what she planned to do. So, uh, set your goals and go for them. I mean, there's nothing really stopping you but yourself. You know.
Mhm, mhm, mhm. Okay, so the only person that's stopping you is yourself. The only person that is. So you think that it's an unwavering belief system in yourself that allows you to live the life that you live. Is that's
Yeah,
what you're
create the
saying?
life I want. You know, even as a
Oh,
child, I used even as a child, I wanted a beautiful home. I didn't care about having a big house. I never wanted a big house, but I always wanted to have a good looking home on the inside, and that's what I achieved. So all my life, I'm always struggling, or not struggling, but always thinking, how can I make the inside look a little better, a little better, a little better all the time? And I don't start over. I mean, when I got the very first antique I bought when I was 16 years old, and it's on the bar in my hallway. And it was a Copeland Bis dog that I paid $150 when I was 16 years old. I saw that at the Antique and Garden Show probably 5 years ago, and it was $2,600. And that's probably gone up since then. But I've always been able to recognize the value of material things, even as a child. When I was 16, I inherited a car from a neighbor who passed away, and they didn't have children, so he gave me his wife's car, and it was a Cadillac, and it was a little bit over 2 years old, had less than 30,000 miles on it. So when I was 16, I was driving a Cadillac, and I used to fantasize that I was rich, and I pull up to these big home driveways and pretend like I'm coming home from Europe. And I guess I kind of painted an image of the kind of life I wanted to live as I got older. So there again, you've got to start with the dream and have, not that money's everything, but you've got to have a dream to what you want and what makes you happy. So, I mean, that could be your talent. And God gave me the talent of being an interior designer. So that's what I enjoy doing. But it could be singing. It could be, you could be the best accountant. You could be whatever you are that comes natural to you. And that makes you happy.
right. So, because I kind of went through this yesterday. I did a live feed where I was just talking, but and just saying, it's good to be in a good space. And so, is that kind of what you're saying? That being yourself and being and choosing what you want to do allows you to be in that good space, which allows you to be passionate and loving and beautiful towards the thing that you do because you're free, because you chose to go that direction and not because somebody else chose for you, i.e., I didn't go to veterinarian school because that was a choice that somebody else made for you. I went this way because this is what I really want.
Yeah, find the niche that you love, what makes you happy, whatever that is. Uh, so many people, uh, they don't have dreams, they don't have aspirations to what they want to do. They just go through life. To me, I've always seen beauty no matter where I go. I mean, I can't drive the car without looking at all the houses on the side of the road as I go along, and I'm thinking that one needs a new paint color, that one needs more landscaping. I mean, these thoughts just go in my head all the time because uh, I've often thought of being the design police where I make little tickets, leaving their mailbox and say, "What were you thinking? Why are you
Oh my
doing that
God,
trim?"
stop. Howard, 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 Howard. Oh my God, Howard.
What?
Please start a TikTok. I'm begging you. There's some people leaving and the lights are on, but that's okay. I'm in Cancun, by the way, on the road in the waves. It's a real thing. Um, the please make a TikTok. Please. make these little tickets that you're talking about and start making a TikTok of you walking up to people's houses and on the outside, or even if you get a friend of yours to let you into their house, that you get to do it to them, even if it's just a joke. Holy fuck, you will blow up overnight if you did that. And
Yeah,
just that alone, and just make
I
that.
actually had
Bro, you would blow up so
I
fast.
actually had
Howard, you would blow up so fast.
I was actually had an idea of starting an article called the Caddy Corner, so that I could go and criticize people's homes. You know, because I mean, honestly, there are a lot of people who can sing and a lot of people who have talent, especially in Nashville where I live. But in my experience, I hardly know anybody that has the talent that I do as far as interior design. A lot of people think they know what they're doing, but they don't. And and a lot of women think they're designers just because they're women. That's not true. I'm sorry. I've seen too many people that think they have talent and they don't. So
Right, right.
yeah,
I have a friend of mine in Houston, Texas. He used to be from, well, I think she's still in New Orleans. She's an interior designer. She won like first place like 2 or 3 years in a row at some competition in Houston. Carrie Robichaux, have you ever heard the name?
no, sorry, I haven't.
No,
No,
okay, okay. You're up
yeah,
there in the top 35. I don't know if she's up there, okay?
yeah, yeah. Actually, I knew Albert Hadley. Do you know who Albert Hadley is? Al-
No, but I've got some comments here, and one of them needs to be popped up. This is Chris Wood. Earlier, he popped this up, and it was just funny. And he goes, "Paying Angel in a meat set much?" But I'm done. That was funny. And then he comes back and he says, "I've been working on apartments lately. I would expect a ticket."
I don't understand. Yeah,
Basically, he's saying that his work would probably not be at your level of I guess, happiness or whatever. So you would be giving him a ticket for the work that he's been doing on the apartments he's been working on. Kind of funny.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, so
Does any of the audience have a question for me? Does any of the audience have a design question for me? I'd be happy to answer it.
the thing is, yeah, the really weird thing about StreamYard here is that some of the messages don't come through, some of them do. And so, we're on like 6 different platforms. So there could be somebody saying something right now on Twitch. I might not catch it. Sometimes they pop through. Usually YouTube pops through. So it's a weird. They come and go. A lot of my episodes, I'll only get like 1 or 2 viewers while we're going, but then by the end of tomorrow, they'll have like 300 viewers. And the watch time's usually
Yeah, I understand.
40, 60%. You know how it happens. But by the end of the week, it should have somewhere around, I don't know, 1,000 views. It's my average. Yeah. I'm only on 61st episode in 3 months, and 4 months of doing this show, which I'm very proud of. I was attempting to try and do one show every day,
Hmm.
but it became so hard to even just acquire guests that it was heavy. I'd still do it if I could get the guests every day, but you know, it's a thing. Uh, so um, I don't know. Maybe I really love the way that you have mentioned, like, create the world or the life that you want to live, and you also mentioned this idea of like people not really having too many aspirations in their life. And my question would be, why do you think that other people don't have aspirations, and people like you and I are willing to change our life willy nilly every 18 years or 5 months or whatever it is to do something new and be different and try something different? Why do you think other people don't do that?
I think because you've got to step out of the thinking about yourself and look at yourself inside out, I mean, outside in, and think, what is it that, that, what is it about yourself that you don't like? Like I said, I didn't like being shy. I didn't like being fat. I didn't like, actually, I didn't like speaking in public for a long, long time. And then I got asked to do the market in Atlanta and Vegas with some other famous interior designers. And when I did that and I was on stage, it changed my life. I mean, when people came up and asked for autographs after I talked, and being in the spotlight and going through the buildings and seeing my picture plastered all over market, uh, I came home to my wife. She said, "You're a different person." I said, "I am a different person. I enjoy this. I never thought I would. I didn't think I had it in me, but now I know why my father did it. There's a high that you get that you feed off the audience. And I think that's the one reason I want to be an actor, is that you can feel that. You can feel the way people think about you. I mean, the way I dress all the time. I mean, every day I go out. I had 3 compliments on this hat today when I walked out. I do things to, I guess, to get attention, and I do, and I like that attention.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Why
So,
do you think that? Why do you think that you like the attention? Is it the whole, Freudian, you didn't get enough of your mom's breast milk kind of concept, or uh, is there something that you feel that you have to give? What do you think it is that you thrive on that adulation
well,
of others?
it's just that uh, I've always I've always had attention ever since I was little, but uh, I guess it goes back. I remember when I was little, we had a tour bus that came by our house, and people on the tour bus would make pictures of our house. Well, I would peek out the window and wait for the tour bus to come by as a kid. And then when the tour bus was there, I go out and get the mail so that I have my picture made. I was always jumping in front of the camera as long as I can remember. So it's just, I've always, uh, I just like it. I mean, it's just, I like being the star of the show.
Mhm, mhm, mhm. Yeah. So yeah, but I mean, so once again, but you seemingly, like you said earlier, having to see yourself from the inside out. So you seemingly know yourself pretty well, but I don't know. I'm still wondering what it is that is your why. Like, what is your why
Why?
behind it? What is your why behind it? Behind being a
The
performer?
why I do
Why,
it?
why do you want the adulation? Sure.
I just like the way it makes me feel. It makes me feel alive. It makes me feel important. Uh,
Okay, so
I
that's
just
it.
like that. I guess it maybe it's in my blood because my father was famous and people around him was, oh, we couldn't go out to eat without him meeting somebody and talking to him all the time. So he got attention all the time. So to me, it just seems natural. Why don't you? I mean, my stepfather uh, raised Brenda Lee. The neighborhood I grew up with had Bobby Lloyd, Stu Phillips, Skeeter Davis, Ralph Emery. There was just a lot of stars even on my street. And then when I was growing up, my parents had a basement. And it was like a nightclub. So we had people like Andy Griffin coming over, Perry Como. Stars were at our house all the time. Peggy Lee.
So
There's a bunch of people that through Barbara Eden that I met all my life. I remember at the Grand Ole Opry, her son is John Ritter of his company. Well, I remember playing with John Ritter as a kid where our parents were on the Opry. We'd be going up and down the steps behind the stage and just playing like kids. But it's just, I've been surrounded by famous people all my life. So to be famous is just normal. Yeah.
Yep, yep. And that's one of the main things that I think is the reason why you have aspiration now because you had aspirational people around you your entire life, and people who were living on the edge,
Yeah,
trying
they
to
were my examples.
100%. So, uh, do you feel that the people who are in the world that do not have aspirations, unfortunately, are around people who don't know how to have aspirations? It's a learned trick, in my opinion, that you have.
Mhm. What was the question again?
What do you feel?
I didn't hear.
We went, we came back. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here now.
Uh, Basically, I said that I feel like it's a learned trick, like learning how to tie your shoes or anything. Like it's just another learned asset in life, and it's a mental process of
Yeah,
there
yeah,
is
yeah.
no.
It's examples that I see, and those are the people I know. So,
Yeah, so then
I
going
mean,
back to the question, do you feel as though the people who don't have aspirations in life have been, in some manner, kind of manipulated by others in a manner to where they don't have aspirations? And if so, who do you think or what do you think is the reasoning for that?
environment. I think you're part of you're partly environment and then partly who you are. Like I said, you have control over your life. I mean, when I was an interior designer, the most famous or the most richest people I know did not go to college. Most people I know came from nothing. But I also feel like if you come from nothing, you know you can take risks, and it's not going to get any worse than where you came from. So they
Right.
escape that and they'll do it. On my hand, I think I would have become more famous if my parents always said, well, someday you'll get money anyway. So it's like they kind of took my aspirations of what I wanted to be away from me. I think if I didn't have that, I think I might have been more doing what I needed to do to reach what I wanted to reach. I think it's in me to do so, but I was afraid to lose what I already had. So, but when you're on the bottom, you don't fear the bottom because you live there. You're not going to, it can't get any worse than what you came from.
Right. 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 I agree. Um, so if I want people who watch this to be able to feel as though they can be you in their own life. So what I'm trying to gather from you as much as possible is how to learn the trick, if that makes sense. How to
How
learn
to
how
learn
to
the
be
trick to be happy?
freedom. Call it whatever you want. Um, I consider what you're doing and the way that you're living a form of freedom. It's a form of being open and honest with yourself about your change, about, hey, well, today I'm going to do this, so that's just what happened, and so I'm going with it. And there's a freedom to the flow that you've designed in your life. Um, and so, in turn, there's other people who don't have aspirations, and people who don't think that they can do the things that you have done. And so, I guess what I'm trying to gather from you is that how would somebody learn to do this for themselves?
I think it's a part of being social. Uh, I I know that Phyllis Diller. I don't know if people know the story on Phyllis Diller, but still, Phyllis Diller, before she became famous, lived in her car with a husband and I think it's three kids, all in a car. And she was doing comedy acts at night. And Bob Hope discovered her and turned her into a star. So her life changed overnight from living in a car to living to Beverly Hills. Life can twist good or bad at any moment, one way or the other. That's life. It's a roller coaster ride. It has its ups and its downs. So if you're down, it's not going to stay down. And if you're up, it can always fall. So you just go and enjoy the ride for what it is. I mean, and then a lot of times I tell You've got to put
Oh, go ahead,
yourself
please.
in a situation where things can happen. I know a lot of single ladies, and they're always talking about meeting the right kind of guy. But the right kind of guy is not going to come to knock on your house and say, "Will you marry me?" or "Will you go out?" You got to put yourself in a situation where you meet the guys. If you want to become a singer, you need to be around other singers. Whatever you want to do,
Right.
surround yourself with people that you admire and become friends with them, and they can help you get to where you need to be, or you can learn the lessons in life from somebody who's already gone through it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Hmm. So you're saying on some level, don't go up the sheer side of the mountain. Take the walk around and slow up by enjoying and smelling the flowers along the way instead of struggling this trying to climb up a mountainside that doesn't need to be climbed when you can just live life by having an experience. I'm catching. Maybe I'm wrong.
I always say don't tackle it like you eat a dinosaur. You think about tomorrow. What can I do tomorrow? Some small little
Wait,
step
wait, you
to
cut off.
create to where I want to be.
Hold on, Howard.
Okay.
Hold on. Say that again. Attack it like a what?
Take it like you eat a dinosaur. I mean, it's one bite at a time. You're not going to change your life tomorrow. You've got to make one step in the right direction to where you want to go. Don't set a deadline. Just make small little changes, and before you know it, you're there. Life goes by quicker as you get older. Last night on our podcast, we had a young girl, and she was in her 20s, and she was talking about how long it was to reach where she's gotten. And I thought, that's because you're young. Life seems like you've got forever. But the older you get, 10 years seems like yesterday. And 10 years tomorrow is going to be like seconds away. So it goes by really quick once you reach a certain age.
When do you feel that was for you, and why?
I When it started going by quick, I think when I think life seemed like it dragged by until I hit 40. And 40, I was still young and looked nice and all that kind of stuff. And then all of a sudden, I turned
You
50.
look great.
And
Come on,
then
I think you
real
look great.
fast, I turned 60. And it just kept going and going. It's just faster and faster. I mean, I know tomorrow I'll be 80, you know. So
Right, right.
it's just the way it is.
I guess my next question for you is how how much of yourself are you from when you were the kid who decided to go and become an interior designer instead of a veterinarian?
Well, I've always, I had my own bedroom, of course, and uh, I was always doing things to it. I mean, I bought antiques before. I mean, I would go by and see a beautiful antique, and I would want it like a kid would want a toy. I would want something nice. I mean, it's just been in me to have nice things. I mean, I remember my mother saying, "Why do you want that expensive whatever it was?" And I'm like, "It makes me happy. I'm not doing it to show off. I'm not doing it to uh, to show people something. I'm doing it because I enjoy beauty, and beauty makes me happy. Just any kind of beauty, the beauty of nature, the beauty of art, the beautiful furniture, beautiful home, beautiful anything. I love beauty, and wherever I go, I see the beauty around me, no matter where it is.
So I have a question, which is I like to just be a little Discordian sometimes. So my question is, um, if is a is a bird within a cage still as beautiful as a bird that's naturally free?
If I was a bird in a cage, what?
No, no. I said, is a bird in a cage just as beautiful as a bird that is free?
I think so. Could be. I mean, absolutely. I don't. I mean, it's your environment that's around you, and you're content and wherever you are. I mean, I
But
think
what
I
about the
think your
bird? What about
environment
the
plays
bird's
a big
environment?
deal on who you are. You
Yeah,
know.
so my question is, so what about the bird's environment? What about its life? Does it have any relevance to your or to its own, or is it just? And this goes to the object. I'm asking in general, Howard. It's a major question here. I'm asking because I want to know more. I want to know where this thing comes from. So the question is, um, I like nice things. I see the beauty in everything, but I like to have nice things. This is when I take those moments and then I say, I think birds are beautiful. Specifically, let's say a red macaw or some kind of amazing parrot that can live
Uh
for
huh.
25 years or whatever. And the difference between the life that it could live in nature and the life that it would live in a cage, one is much more beautiful to me than the other. And so, what I lead that analogy to lead down is how much do you actually need to hold on to when what you're recognizing is the beauty, not necessarily the actual object holding.
Well, if you look at a bird in nature, it could be attacked. It has to deal with the weather. It has obstacles to face in nature. If I was a bird in a cage, I got a beautiful environment. I have somebody feeding me. I have everything I need to survive. So I don't know if it would be a better life to be in nature and be free or be taken care of all your life and live forever. I mean, live a lot longer life than a free bird would have.
We're leading down the primrose path. We're leading down the primrose path. Here it is. Are you ready? Would you rather have freedom or security?
I can't hear.
Sorry. Would you rather have freedom or security? You have to choose one or the other.
Uh, I don't see why you can't have both. I
No,
mean, that's
because
like people
that's
saying,
here's the no, 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 no. Just play with me, Howard. Play with me. This is the psychiatrical thing.
okay,
Like, there's two train. There's two, well, tracks on the train. One has one person. One has five people. What do? You kill one person. You kill five. There's no other answer, A or B. So that's my question for you, A or B. So no other answer. Do you want freedom or do you want C?
freedom or what? Or security?
Safety,
I
security.
want,
Oh, Primrose back. Uh-huh. I'm
I don't
loving
know,
this
if you had
conversation, by the way.
security,
This is very intense. What we're talking about is very intense, Howard, because what we're talking about is what
yeah,
society is going through right now and how much of our
yeah.
freedoms are taken away from us in the ideology that they're doing it for our sanctity, for our safety. And so I ask, in the same way of the life of this thing that's beautiful, which is this thing that should naturally be free. It should naturally have its own existence. Just like you would not want to be in a cage. You would not want to be in a jail for the rest of your life, no matter how much you are in that and you were born into that. There's going to be something within you that's going to tell you that that's not the way you're supposed to live. When you look out the window and you see other things
yeah.
living that are like you, they don't. So I ask again, what would you rather have, freedom or safety?
I guess
I think
freedom, I could
I
get
think you
security because I would have the choice.
want
Yeah.
home. Exactly. And so now I lead back to the question I was asking a moment ago. How much do you need to actually have of that? And that is because you said at the beginning of this whole thing, I want more. I want more things
Yeah.
that are beautiful, more things. And I may have confused it with my own Nietzsche-esque emotional understanding of the word more, right? And you may have this other, through the conversation, which I've learned, you have a different, different emotional connection to the idea. And you said it maybe 20 minutes ago. You said, look, bro, all I've known is famous people and nice things my whole life. So that's what I've chased after all my
Yeah.
life on some level. And the other side of that was the only other thing I've ever seen in my life is people with aspirations. I've only ever been a person with aspirations. You see what I'm saying, right? And this is what I
Right.
like to do when I'm doing my show, is that I want to try and find these pieces because these are the pieces that are effectively, really, truly making you as a person. And sometimes other people will look at that and go, oh, he's like a Scrooge, or he's like some kind of flamboyant person that has to have all these nice things around him all the time. And he just can't get rid of them and needs more and more. But if you were to just take a moment, like I've done now, and start to understand the cup and the edit and the impact of what that cup does to you in your own life,
Well, I
then
think
all of a
that
sudden the
that
pieces
question is, would you rather be, that's the same question I hear all the time. Would you rather be happy or would you rather have money? And it's like, why can't you have both? I mean, it's not one or the
because
other. One does not create the other. You can have both.
well, there's a difference between the depressed millionaire and the depressed homeless guy that has no money, and
It's
that's
not a
the one's
choice.
in Playa,
It's
one's
not
in
a
Playa del
choice.
Carmen. What's that? Say that
It's
again.
not a choice, one or the other. It's a matter of wanting both. So freedom and the stuff. So
Well, yeah, but once again, we're in a psychological choice thing. You can't have both, Howard.
right,
I love your twisting of the thing, but you can't. You can only have one or the other. So your answer was freedom. Your answer was freedom, and then you twisted it to if I'm free, I can create security, which is still not really the answer. The answer in your whole heart, in my opinion, is you don't want anyone to tell you when you can or cannot do something, and you have always worked at trying to live that
right. That's true. That's true.
way. Okay.
Yeah, that's
And so
true.
if that's the case, right. And so there's also the other piece that says, because of my nature nurture as a child, these are the things that I know, this is what I know to be normal. This way of thinking, this way of being, this idea of always seeing beauty in everything, and also having beautiful things around you. And so when you say, I want more, the person who doesn't understand the cup would think that you were saying like a multi-billionaire who's like, I need more money, I want more. And that's not how you're saying it. You're saying, I want more beauty in this existence that I've created. I want more of that. And so that's the big ticket here, Howard. Because other people would look at that and see it differently. And I'm happy I took the time. I'm happy I dug deeper because I feel as though your want and need for material things and also your want and need to have adoration from others is it's not really even your choice anymore. It never was, and it never was because you lived within a life of other people who lived by adulation, lived by the lived by the sword, died by the sword, if you will, kind of people who were trying to be artists and real artists. We're not talking about just like a once in a while person. We're talking about heavy-handed artists that you were literally hanging out with and talking with and learning from it. Like what I would consider, me and Chupi and Poppy over here that nobody knows. Those were your regular people. And so that has to make a massive difference. And I, I wish we could sell the essence of believing in yourself, because that's what this is in the end. This idea of
Yeah.
having an unwavering belief in yourself.
Yeah. I know what makes me happy, and that makes me happy.
Yeah,
You know, one of the things they say, family doesn't make you happy, money doesn't make you happy. One of the things that make you happy is how close you live to where you work, and because that you have control on. I think, in being in sales, I know that because I'm a good salesperson. If you have a restful, peaceful morning and a good commute to work, you're already in a good state of mind, and good things will happen to you because you're in a good environment. I don't know. I think people feed off of each other. And if you're tense and you're upset, you don't have to tell me anything, but I feel that from you. If you're a happy person like I am, I radiate happiness, I radiate my joy. You can see that I enjoy life. And I have tons and tons of friends because they're drawn to me. I have a lot of people that I meet one time that I sold them something, and I can see them 20, 30 years later, and they'll remember when I sold it to them because I made an impression when I did it. And I think that energy is, again, like what Dolly has, that she radiates that. And it's like I learned, you share that. You don't control, you inspire people, you give them. I have a lot of people, my wife calls them, there are a lot of Howard wannabes. You know, they look at you and they're like, they want to be like you. But nobody can be like me. I'm me. Everybody's got to find out who they are and who they like to be, and try not to copy anybody else. Just be true to yourself and be who you are. Like, again, like Dolly does.
right, right. How do you feel about Dolly Parton's line where she says, "I don't want to ever talk about my politics or my religion"? Do you feel the same way? And did she
Oh,
ever
I
say that
believe
to
in
you
that
before she
totally.
became well known?
I believe in that totally because I don't want to start arguments. I don't want to have an argument. I'll run away from an argument. I'll run away from stress. It affects me. I know one thing that Dolly does. She prays every night that people that bring good to me in my life, I want people them to go away. So she prays about that every night. Take the people that are hurting you away from me. Take people that will help me and bring them into my life. And she makes that prayer, and undoubtedly it works. So,
Obviously, it does. I talked about this yesterday in my live feed, um, and it was exactly that. How if you just think to yourself that all of your negative ideas and thoughts are right here in the circle, right here in the third eye, and that by you taking a deep breath and just releasing it, that circle goes smaller and smaller and smaller until it's just a little point that just disappears, and the universe takes it for you. The universe is more than enough. It can do more than anything. So why not just give it to the universe? Why be filled with anger? Why be filled with frustration? Why uh, have negative thoughts of other people in your heart and your mind? For what? What are you getting out of that? Nothing. You know, it's just painful. So yeah,
uh,
that's
when I was
I totally agree.
when I was in sales, I had a lady that was in customer service, and I thought, how could you be in customer service and people are yelling at you because they didn't get the order, or they're being fussed at all the time every time you pick up the phone? She said, because I know they're not mad at me, they're mad over the situation. So if you look at why people are the way they are, it's not hurting you, it's hurting them. If I'm mad at you, you're not going to change. I've got to change and think, let it go. I can't change you, so I let you go. Uh, you
Yeah,
don't let it
there's
affect
also
you.
guys
I
that
mean, why would I be mad at
right.
somebody who is jealous or somebody that has bad thoughts about me? Take them out of your life. You don't have to be around that person. Be around people that inspire you and you want to be like, and people that make you happy. I have had friends in every job I ever had for decades, and we remain friends all my life. I don't think I've ever had an argument with a friend as long as I know. And even if I did, I would get over it because I don't hold grudges. I mean, let it go, you know. So, but there, and that's also why I don't talk politics and religion. I don't want to put myself in a situation
You don't
where
want
I'm going to make you
you don't
angry.
create the vibe. Sure,
Yeah.
sure, sure. You're here to entertain, like she says. I'm here to entertain. I'm not here to create a problem in the world. Right. Wow. So look, we're getting to a point. We've been on for like almost an hour and 20. A lot of people like they don't recognize when it happens. Like, oh my God, are you serious? You did all that long? And it's only because I try to make this
Yeah.
as just free formy as possible and make it just feel like a conversation that we're having on the phone together. Um, but I really want people to be able to reach out to you and find you. Maybe they want some interior design, or maybe they want to see one of your new movies, or anything at all. Do you have a website? Do you have some place where I can post up on screen your information?
Actually, if you just follow me on Facebook, Howard Wiggins Facebook, I actually have Howard Wiggins Interior Design, but I don't do that anymore. I just keep that website, I mean, that Facebook up because I want to go back and look at my old pictures and see if they have aged or I just like to see what I've done. But if you just plain old
Yeah,
Howard Wiggins Facebook, you can follow me on that. Uh, one thing I do, if people make a comment, I always will say thank you. I will always respond to your comments because when you go to do Facebook, the one thing I love about it, you're liking people who like the same thing you like. If you like antiques, if you like dancing, if you like the arts, I'm your friend because I appreciate that thing. And I like the camaraderie, what's the word I'm trying to say? That it brings people together with the same kind of likes. So I've had a lot of good things happen to me from Facebook. The Christmas book that I'm in, and I'm in another one too. I met that lady through Facebook. The Yeah, I love my Facebook friends. They're wonderful because I mean I feel like I know them because we correspond every day, and it's like I feel like they really are my friends.
yeah. I've met so many people through the internet that I never got to meet in person for years later, and it's funny how you can have a real friend that you've never met, but you do video or whatever, and then um, you meet them and you have this very ethereal, awesome connection because you know each other. It's the same thing as like maybe I don't know writing letters to each other in the 1800s from afar, except it's just a lot faster.
I
You know what I
went to an
mean?
art show this past weekend, and I had three of my Facebook friends that I've communicated came to the art show to actually meet me in person. So that's what I love. I mean, I love, and I know everything about you. You
You
know
did art
everything
on?
about me because we're checking each other's life all the time. So I stay in
Howard, did
contact
you
with
did you
you.
make art?
It's a two-way street. Pardon?
Did you make some art?
No,
Did
I
you make
enjoy
art?
art. I don't make art. I
Oh,
just
okay.
collect art.
Other people
So I
make
love
art.
going to art
Okay,
shows and meeting other. I always have an expression: talent recognizes talent, and I like
100%.
anybody that has talent in any. If it's fashion, if it's art, if it's music, if it's literature, whatever. I love the art in any kind of form,
Yeah,
and I have an appreciation
100%.
for people who have had talent in that art. So
No, I think you mentioned that already when you said I like beauty. With just that statement alone, I think that that's the ultimate answer that we're trying to get to, right? Which was I like beautiful things. And what is art? What is music? What is interior design? What is all the things that we talked about tonight? They are a form of art. Life in and of itself, lived one way or another, this way or that, is a form of art. And you have painted quite a beautiful painting, sir. And I say it again. I think you're a blessed and lucky man to have gotten to live the life that you live and hold yourself the way that you do, and all of it. There's a very coolness to it, man. And I'm very appreciative that you came on and
I
shared that
want
with
I
us.
want to share a story with you. I have only had two vacations my entire life, two, and I did not really enjoy the vacation until I brought something home from that vacation. But and the point I want to make is a lot of people that have normal, what you think of a normal life, they escape and go vacation and they go somewhere that's beautiful and get themselves in an environment different than what they live. I've always felt I'd rather create the environment where I can live in it every day. So I don't have the need, I think, to go to Europe or go someplace beautiful. I'd rather just create it here and I'm living it every day versus escaping to it and visiting it and getting away from my life and taking a vacation. I don't feel the need to do that because I'm thinking this is
Right,
just,
right.
I'm happy
Well,
where I
because
am.
your life isn't right. Is it what's that song? Hey, 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 I'm on vacation every single day 'cause I love my occupation. I mean, if that's not the answer for what you just said, it's,
Yeah.
I don't know where else to go with it. But yeah,
Yeah.
if and then I think the next line in the song is if you don't like your life, then you just have to change it. It's
Correct.
a great song. Yeah. Well, Howard Wiggins, episode 61. Thank you so much for coming on the show today, man, and hanging out with me a little bit.
Thank you.
I really,
Always in my show with a little heart, showing a little love, you know, to all the people. And I always tip my hat at the end of the show. Thanks for having me on.
and once again, thank you for coming on. It was a pleasure having you, and we'll see you on the other side.
All righty. Good night.
Oh my God! Yet another amazing episode where you get to see the inside of somebody else's thinking, the way that they you get there, and what an amazing because when Howard first said that whole thing about more, I literally had this like scene in a movie that was like I think it's like Wall Street Part Two. If you haven't seen it, go see it. And that's what was in my mind. But I'm so happy that I dug and dug and dug because I really wanted to understand that. Uh, there's a lot there. There's a lot in this episode. Very heavy episode. Very good episode. Howard, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. What an amazing kid. What an amazing kid. That was great. So, my friend, if you would not mind, please go out in the world, do something nice for somebody else. If you can't do something nice for yourself, it starts with you. Hello? Number two, don't get caught up in all the crazy things in this world because if you do, then you end up a little angry and then you're not going to do the things that you want to do, and that's not good for you or me. Then number three, if you would not mind, please like, share, subscribe. Send this out to somebody who wants to see it. My friends, it's an absolute pleasure to be here. An absolute honor to have any one of you watch. So thank you very much for being here. Thank you for watching. I love you all, and I will see you all on the other side.